My wife wanted space to find herself. 3 days later, she found another man. I stayed silent, gathered proof, and ended the marriage in a way she'll never forget. I'm 32 now, but this story started when I was 27, the year I met Chloe, who's 30 today. We'd been together for 5 years and married for 3. I'm a certified welder who earns about $95,000 a year on major industrial construction projects. She worked as a receptionist at a mid-sized firm downtown, earning roughly half of that. Before we got married, I'd already bought a small 1950s ranch-style home with money from my inheritance. I renovated every inch of it myself. Plumbing, wiring, floors, kitchen, the whole deal. It was titled solely in my name, and I poured about $40,000 and 2 years of my weekends into turning it into something special. It's worth around $280,000 now, thanks to the neighborhood getting more valuable each year. Since I made twice what she did, we split household expenses 70-30. I covered the mortgage, she handled utilities, groceries, and small upgrades. For the first couple of years, things were normal. Learning each other's quirks, small arguments about dishes and thermostats, big dreams about vacations we couldn't afford. She wanted Europe, I wanted to get debt-free. It was marriage 101, ordinary, sometimes exhausting but stable. Everything started to shift around 8 months ago, when Chloe reconnected with an old college friend, Amber. Amber had just gone through a messy divorce, had no kids, and was living off $2,500 a month in alimony from her ex. Some tech guy, she said, betrayed her. Amber lived downtown, spent every weekend at clubs, and posted "live your best life," motivational garbage all over Instagram. My best friend, Logan, met her once at a cookout and immediately dubbed her the life coach. Logan's been my closest friend since college, a blunt software developer who can smell nonsense from a mile away. Amber was 28, bottle blonde, with those overdone eyelashes and that permanent look-at-me grin. She laughed too hard at my jokes and lingered too long when she smiled. I brushed it off as extroverted energy. I shouldn't have. Amber was constantly at our house in her shiny BMW, dressed like she was heading to a club, giving Chloe unsolicited advice about relationships. She was basically a one-woman disaster factory, divorced after just 18 months, unemployed, living on someone else's dime, and still thought she was qualified to tell everyone else how to live. But Chloe hung on every word she said. Suddenly, she started coming home with strange, rehearsed ideas that we'd gotten too comfortable, that love should feel exciting and challenging, that maybe we'd lost our spark. Every week she had a new theory that sounded like it was ripped straight from some cheesy romance podcast. At first, it was small things. Why didn't I surprise her with spontaneous dates anymore? Why didn't I act jealous when guys flirted at parties? Why wasn't I emotionally present? Meanwhile, I was drowning in work. I'd been put in charge of a high-stakes downtown construction project, a 12-story office building that was 3 months behind and hundreds of thousands over budget. It was the kind of project that could make or break your career. I was working 60-hour weeks, trying to keep things afloat. But in Amber's world of relationship wisdom, that meant I didn't care about my wife. Apparently, my long hours weren't to protect our financial future. They were a sign I'd checked out emotionally. You can't reason with that kind of logic. By Christmas, things were bad. Every small disagreement turned into a full-blown fight. She'd start with something harmless, escalate it into a personal attack, and then accuse me of being emotionally distant when I tried to stay calm. I remember coming home after a brutal 12-hour day, only for her to be furious because I wasn't excited enough about the new Christmas tree. Logan summed it up best. She's bored and letting her divorced friend run your marriage like it's a reality show. I started staying late at work, partly to catch up on the project, mostly to avoid the chaos. She took that as more evidence that I didn't care. Then came the breaking point. It was a Thursday evening in January. I walked in around 7 p.m., not late by my standards. She was sitting at the kitchen table, hands clasped, like she'd rehearsed something all day. She didn't wait for me to eat with her, unusual for us. I grabbed leftover Chinese food and sat down. Halfway through my cold, sweet and sour pork, she spoke. "I've been thinking maybe we should take a break. Just some time apart to find ourselves." I almost laughed. It was verbatim what Amber had been preaching for months: space, clarity, rediscovering love. I'd seen this exact act play out before. My buddy Tyler went through the same nonsense 2 years earlier. His wife wanted to find herself, and by week 2, she was sleeping with her yoga instructor. It ended with her finding half his savings and $1,800 in monthly child support. You want a separation? I asked. Just for a couple of weeks, she said. We'll act like we're not married, see if we miss each other. Maybe it'll remind us what we love. Translation. She wanted to see if she could do better without officially cheating. When I realized that, something inside me switched off. Instead of pleading or arguing, I just nodded. Okay, I said. That single word threw her off balance. She expected begging, some emotional meltdown to prove my love. Instead, I calmly finished my meal and went about my evening. That's when I knew it was truly over. Not because she asked for space, but because she looked disappointed that I didn't fight for her. After she went to bed, I texted Logan. Me, Chloe wants a break. Logan, LOL, let me guess, the life coach's idea. What's the move, me? I'm going to give her the space she wants. Let's see what happens. Logan, smart. Nothing says love like an emotional pop quiz. We agreed on rules. 2 weeks of pretending we weren't married. She'd stay with Amber, no contact unless it was an emergency. The next morning, she packed 2 suitcases, work clothes, casual outfits, toiletries, and drove off in her Civic. The house was instantly quiet, but not the bad kind of quiet, peaceful quiet. I could finally breathe. Eat cereal for dinner. Watch ESPN without someone accusing me of toxic masculinity. That night, I ordered a pizza, cracked open a Coke, and watched all 3 Predator movies back to back. No lectures, no guilt trips, just silence and freedom. Logan came by that weekend with Thai takeout and his laptop. We spent hours building a fantasy football roster. It was the most relaxed I'd felt in years. So how's single life treating you? He joked. Great, I watched football for 3 hours straight without being told I'm repressing my emotions. He nearly choked on his noodles. She actually said that? Yup. Apparently my loyalty to the Cowboys is a sign I'm avoiding intimacy. By the second week, I'd shifted gears. I reviewed all our finances, joint savings, credit cards, her student loans, everything. We had about $35K in savings and $15K in checking. She still owed $28K in student debt for a marketing degree that earned her $45K a year. I'd been paying $400 extra each month to help her clear it faster. I also documented everything related to the house. Who paid what, who contributed materials, receipts, labor, all of it. Then I called my attorney friend, Thomas, to ask what my options were if this break became permanent. He walked me through Texas property law. Since I bought the house before marriage, it would stay mine. Any renovations done with my own labor and money strengthened my claim. That was a relief. By the end of that first week, I'd moved half of our joint savings into my personal account and rerouted my paycheck. Everything legal, everything documented. Chloe only texted me once during those 2 weeks. Hope you're thinking about us. Logan laughed when I showed him. She expected you to be crying by now. Instead, you're chilling with pizza and football. That's gotta sting. By day 10, the real show started. Amber texted me first time ever. Hey, how are you holding up? I kept it short. Doing okay. It's strange, but I'm fine. I know, Chloe's really stressed. Maybe we could grab coffee and talk about it. I decided to go along, not because I wanted to, but because I wanted evidence. She showed up to Starbucks dressed like she was going clubbing, tight black dress, heavy perfume, hair done like she was on a date. Every time she leaned forward, her neckline dropped a little lower. Subtlety clearly wasn't her thing. I just feel awful about all this, she said, reaching across the table to touch my hand. You two were such a good couple. Right, I thought. That's why you spent months telling her we were boring. She went on about how Chloe didn't appreciate what she had, how I deserved better, and how if I had a husband like you, things would be different. When we left, she hugged me too long, too close, and whispered, "We should do this again sometime." I got home and called Logan immediately. "Let me guess," he said, "the life coach is already planning your wedding." She practically threw herself at me, I said, touching my hand, dropping hints. It's pathetic. Classic, she's been eyeing you since the start. Probably convinced Chloe to take a break just to make her move. Amber didn't even wait long. She started texting me every day after that, little things like thinking of you and hope you're okay. Alongside every message came another photo. Her in yoga pants at the gym, eating dinner alone, lounging in a bikini by the pool. All perfectly curated bait. Logan was howling. "Bro, these captions sound like rejected Hallmark cards." I replied just enough to keep her talking, polite, reserved, never flirtatious, all while saving every message. Then one night she sent the big one. "I have something to tell you, but I don't know if I should." I played along. "You can tell me anything. Can we meet, not over text?" We met again at the same Starbucks. She looked anxious this time, glancing at her phone between sentences. Then she took a deep breath and said it. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but Chloe's seeing someone. I froze, partly out of shock, partly because it was exactly what I'd suspected. Who? I asked quietly. His name's Scott. She met him at a work conference last month. They've been seeing each other ever since. She described him, mid-30s, divorced, drives a BMW, works in marketing for some software company in Austin. And just like that, everything clicked. Amber wasn't just a bad influence, she'd been the bridge, the matchmaker, the enabler. But what she didn't know was that I was already 10 steps ahead with proof, records, and a lawyer ready. Because when my wife wanted space, I gave her exactly that, enough rope to hang her own lie. And when the truth finally came out, I didn't yell, I didn't beg, and I didn't cry. I just filed the papers. The kind of guy who probably has a LinkedIn profile photo of himself pointing at a whiteboard. "You're sure?" I asked. Amber nodded solemnly. "I saw them having dinner last night. Very cozy." Then she reached over and took my hand again. "I'm so sorry. I didn't want to be the one to tell you, but you deserve to know the truth." The message was obvious. I had two choices. Fight for a woman who'd already moved on, or fall into the open arms of her concerned best friend. The manipulation was so transparent it was almost insulting. But I played the part of the devastated husband flawlessly. "I can't believe she'd do that," I whispered. "You don't deserve this," she cooed. "You deserve someone who appreciates you." When I got home that night, I did what I should have done weeks earlier. Chloe had left her iPad behind, still logged into her iCloud, with the same password I'd helped her set up. Her messages synced automatically across all devices. What I found was 3 weeks' worth of texts with Scott, her coworker from some conference. It started with harmless office gossip, but by week 2, the messages had turned personal. Complaints about me, about our marriage, about how talking to him made her feel alive again. By the most recent messages, things were explicit: plans to meet, talk of feelings, and pictures I wish I'd never seen. The timeline matched perfectly with the start of her break. I took screenshots of everything: 47 messages, several photos, and a few voicemails I couldn't even bring myself to listen to. Then I checked our shared credit card statement. 3 expensive dinners at restaurants I'd never been to: Meridian, the Capitol Grill, and 1 hotel charge at the Omni downtown. $280 for a single night. So while she told me she was seeing friends, she was really spending our joint money to cheat and expected me to wait for her like a loyal backup plan. I called Logan. Found it. She's been seeing some guy from Austin. "No way. Credit card statements, hotel bills, messages, all there," he whistled. "So her friend convinces her to take a break, helps her cheat, then runs straight to you with the news. That's next-level manipulation. She's betting you'll be so grateful for her loyalty that you'll fall right into her arms." I smiled grimly. "Let's see how that plan works out." Monday morning, I called my lawyer, Thomas. "I have proof of adultery, texts, receipts, hotel stays." "Good," he said. "Bring it all in. We'll make this airtight." He reviewed everything with the calm detachment of someone who's seen this 1,000 times. "This is solid evidence. You'll keep the house since it was bought before marriage. You'll likely get 60–65% of joint assets, and she won't get spousal support. Texas law is clear on this. Adultery changes everything." "How soon can we file?" "Give me 3 days." Those next 3 days were surreal. I went to work like nothing had happened, keeping the project on schedule, and came home to peace and silence. No nagging, no tension, just quiet. Meanwhile, I kept up my act with Amber, letting her think I was broken, that I needed her support. At our next comfort coffee, she said, "I just can't believe she'd treat you like this. You're such a good man." I smiled sadly. "Maybe this was meant to happen." She leaned closer, lowering her voice. "Maybe you were supposed to see who she really is, and who I am." When I told Logan, he almost spat his drink. "She actually said that. What is this, a Hallmark movie? Next she'll be saying we were meant to be." 3 days later, I served Chloe the divorce papers at her office. Professional, clean, complete with text screenshots and financial records. An hour later, she called, furious. "What the hell is this? Divorce papers? This was supposed to be a break. We were going to work things out." "You worked it out with Scott instead," I replied calmly. "Hope that night at the Omni was worth $280. Silence. Then panic. "How did you?" "Your iPad syncs to iCloud. Every message, every picture, every plan. I know everything." She tried to twist it. "You invaded my privacy. You used our joint card to pay for a hotel room with another man," I shot back. She stammered. "It was just texting." "The hotel receipt disagrees." Then she snapped. "You know what? I'm glad I did it. Scott actually cares about me. He doesn't just grunt when he gets home covered in grease." I laughed bitterly. The same grunt work that bought your car and paid your bills. Whatever, at least Scott has a real career. He's helping me get a job in Austin with people who actually have ambition. Good luck, I said. Hope he knows what he's getting. The divorce took 4 months. Chloe tried every excuse. The break gave me permission. It wasn't physical. I was confused. None of it held up. Her own lawyer looked ready to throttle her by the end. In the meantime, Amber kept up her supportive friend act. Daily texts, motivational quotes, and constant check-ins. She was auditioning to be my rebound before the ink was even dry. I met her twice more, every time same routine. Dressed like she was heading to a red carpet, fake sympathy and subtle hints about our connection. One day, she sighed dramatically. If I hadn't told you about Scott, maybe you two could have worked it out. Maybe, I said. But I needed the truth. She leaned closer, resting her hand on mine. Just know that when you're ready, I'll be here in whatever way you need. I told Logan later. He laughed so hard he could barely speak. Did she just offer herself as a full-service consolation prize? By May, the divorce was final. I kept the house, my savings, and 65% of the assets. She got her car, personal items, and her student debt. No spousal support. The house was worth $280,000 with $100,000 in equity. I also kept $32,000 in savings. She walked away with about $18,000 and a worn-out Civic. But still, she played the victim, claiming the split was unfair, that I was punishing her for following her heart. You followed your heart into a $280 hotel room, I said. I'm just following the law. Amber decided to celebrate the divorce. She invited me to dinner at an upscale restaurant, Meridian, ironically the same place Chloe used for one of her affair dinners. She arrived looking like she was attending an awards show, designer dress, perfect makeup, rehearsed smile. I'm so proud of you, she said sweetly. You've been so strong. You deserve someone who truly gets you. I had good support, I replied evenly. She smiled. And now, we can finally be honest about what's been building between us. I looked at her, flawless, calculating fake. Amber, there's something you should know. What is it? She asked eagerly. You didn't help me, you destroyed my marriage. Her face drained of color. No, I was helping you see who she really was. You encouraged her to cheat so you could swoop in afterward. You set her up, then pretended to save me. Her voice trembled. I was trying to protect you. No, I said. You were protecting your own interests. You used two people's lives as a game. I tossed a couple of 20s on the table. The saddest part is you actually think I'd want someone capable of that. Wait, where are you going? Home, I said. Alone, to my house, the one I still have because I don't trust people like you. But what about us? She stammered. There is no us, there never was. As I walked out, I sent Chloe a quick text. Amber wants to confess something about Scott. You should hear it in person. I'm meeting her at Meridian. 10 minutes later, Chloe stormed into the restaurant. Her eyes locked on Amber. What's she doing here? Amber's voice went high and shaky. This isn't what it looks like. I stood up. Ladies, I'll leave you to it. Outside, I called Logan. Get down to Meridian. The life coach is about to get a review. Through the restaurant window, I saw Chloe yelling. You set me up with Scott. It wasn't like that, Amber cried. You destroyed my marriage so you could steal my husband. It escalated fast, hand gestures, shouting, other diners recording the scene. Then Amber threw her water glass. It shattered against the wall behind Chloe. Chloe grabbed Amber's designer purse and dumped it onto the table. Silver lipstick tubes and fake lashes scattered everywhere. Oh, this is gold, Logan said, pulling up beside me. You called 911 yet? Already did, I said. Inside, chaos erupted. Amber lunged. Chloe grabbed her hair. They both went down, taking half the table with them. Dishes shattered. People scrambled away. You think we should help? I asked. Logan grinned. Help, dude, this is the best show in town. They're both getting exactly what they deserve. The manager rushed in, trying to separate them, and got shoved aside for his trouble. Then Chloe hurled a breadbasket square at Amber's chest. By the time the police arrived, both of them looked like they'd gone 12 rounds. The videos were already online within an hour. 2 women brawl at fancy restaurant over the same man. I didn't press charges. Didn't need to. I had everything I wanted, my house, my peace, and my freedom. As Logan and I drove off, he said, so what now? Now, I said, I go home and eat leftover pizza in peace. He nodded. To freedom. To freedom, I agreed, smiling for the first time in months. Because sometimes silence, patience, and a well-timed truth sting louder than any revenge ever could. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment. Hit subscribe, follow for more, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next one.